Godzilla is now in New York City.
Monster 01 and 02, commence the attack.
Hello, listeners, and welcome back to another episode of Stomp This Way. How's everyone doing today?
Well, I'm doing fine.
We got Dylan joining us via phone today, so
Hopefully you can hear me.
hopefully you can hear him. If not, I can
Oh,
probably fix it in post.
Hopefully.
Let's see. Well, Dylan, you didn't get to join us last week. I know you said you didn't revisit the film, but any comments for the listeners on JP2 before we start talking about JP3?
It's been a while since I've seen Jurassic Park II. I remember it being okay, not great.
That was basically a review.
Yeah.
It's okay.
So,
but
I mean, I know Steven Spielberg came back to direct the second one, which is very odd that the quality was a pretty dramatic downgrade compared to the original, but I don't remember much else other than the fact that Jeff Goldblum's back in that one.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we talked about in our review, like even Spielberg has admitted, like he kind of became disenchanted with the movie as he was making it. So
He didn't really care. He's like, wait, why am I doing this?
He's like, why am I here? I don't understand. But anyway, we're here today to talk about Jurassic Park III. So, I mean, what's everyone's kind of relationship with Jurassic Park 3? I mean, Dylan, how often have you revisited JP3?
Honestly, I remember that William H. Macy was in it, and I remember that Téa Leoni was in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that Sam Neill came back for this one, but outside of that, I didn't really remember any of the plot of it. I think I may have seen this twice in my life before now. It's not one I revisit very often.
Yeah. Well, actually, I mean, I think Andrew and I are kind of the opposite.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like AVP and Revenge of the Sith. Maybe just because when this one came out, this came out a few years before those did. But for whatever reason, this was the one that our parents had on DVD. So when we were growing up, we watched this one on repeat.
Lot.
So this is probably the one that I've seen the most by a pretty good margin.
I remember basically the whole plot when I watched this.
I remembered pretty much scene by scene what happened, and I haven't seen it in probably 5 or 6 years.
I watched.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you the last time I saw this one. I mean, it's been probably 10 plus years at least.
Yeah, and I say that to say that some of my opinions on it may be clouded by a little bit of nostalgia. So, just fair warning. Anyway, so Jurassic Park 3. I've got a little bit of production trivia here. I didn't put that much. I mean, just like the others, if you want to, Wikipedia's got a whole book written about it. If you want to go, figure out, the full details. But basically, obviously, this is the first movie to not be in the franchise, to not be directed by Spielberg, not be written by David Koepp, or based on a novel by Michael Crichton. So basically a whole new creative team. Also, John Williams is not doing the score, although they reuse a lot of his music. But so they actually had, I think it was actually the second draft of this movie, but the draft that they were intending to shoot with, about 5 weeks before shooting started, they threw it out the window and said, we're going to rewrite this thing. And they went to David Koepp for suggestions, apparently, and he said, you just need to simplify it. This script is too complicated. So 5 weeks before filming, they started rewriting this. But actually, they never actually completed a final draft, even throughout the shooting of this movie. They never finished the script. So they had basically written from what I understood, they basically had the first act written out when they started filming, and they were kind of working on the second act. I don't even think they ever really wrote a script for the third act. They just kind of winged it on set day to day. But Johnston and and Macy were apparently constantly bitching about it and almost quit over it. But anyway, so they got through it. This movie was filmed over the course of 5 months, starting in August of 2000.
5 months?
5 months.
That's a pretty long shoot.
Yeah, they said I read some of it, and they were talking about like because they didn't have a script, and this is one of the things that Macy was so pissed off about. Was like they would spend a full 12-hour workday, and they would film like an eighth of a page because they were just trying to figure out what they were doing. So, and it was a pretty grueling shoot because they were out in the jungles of Hawaii in the heat of the day, you know, just walking around,
Sometimes
dirty, hot,
sometimes not even know
and
what
makeup.
they're doing.
Didn't know what they were supposed to be doing half the time. But they filmed it in Hawaii, and then they finished the shoot in California. So yeah, apparently it was not a fun set to be on, but we'll talk about how it translated, I guess, over the course of this review. But anyway, a little bit of box office. This was released on July 18th of 2001. This movie is now 24, almost a quarter of a century years old. Ooh. Budget of $93 million. It opened on a Wednesday. It had a 5-day opening of $81 million. A total U.S. gross of about $181 million. Worldwide, globally, it made about $370 million. And as of this recording, this is still the lowest grossing entry in the entire franchise, Jurassic World trilogy included. So,
Well, all those movies made over $1 billion. So.
yeah, I mean, this is the lowest grossing by a pretty good margin. I think even Lost World made over 600 million globally. So
It made close to $1 billion.
And the first Jurassic Park now is pushing $1 billion, isn't it?
It's over $1 billion with all of its re-releases and stuff. So
Jesus.
yeah, so multiple $1 billion movies, but this one was not one of them. So
Not even close.
not even really close. So we are going to play a trailer. Let me bring it up real quick. Dylan, you may not hear anything but silence for a couple minutes, but
Oh, I heard the intro, so I'll probably hear it.
you'll probably hear it. Okay, well, I'm gonna fade everybody out, and we're gonna listen to a trailer. So see you in a bit.
I have a proposition I'd like to discuss with you. I've chartered an airplane to fly us over Isla Sorna, and we'd like you to be our guide. We'd love to make a contribution to your research here.
It could almost be paradise. My God, I'd forgotten.
We have a landing strip up ahead. You cannot land on this island. Oh my God!
But in this forbidden place, where man has tampered with nature,
This is how you make dinosaurs?
this is how you play God. Something unexpected has evolved.
They can talk to each other.
To a degree we never imagined. On July 18th, you probably won't get off this island alive. It's not just a walk in the park.
They set a trap. They actually set a trap.
We figured it out.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Dylan, are you still with us? Are you with us now?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay, you're back. Did you hear that trailer?
I did not hear the trailer.
Oh, well, okay. Well, it recorded, so there was the trailer.
Good deal.
Anyway, let's talk about a little bit of cast and crew, shall we? This movie is directed by Joe Johnston. I mean, Joe Johnston, he's kind of got a weird filmography. He's kind of been all over the map. I think some kind of classic movies, and then also a lot of crap. I think people would probably most know him for, I think, like the first Jumanji, and like
He also
Honey, I Shrunk
also
the
directed
Kids.
The Rocketeer,
Yeah,
which is probably one of his most popular movies, and he directed Captain America: The First Avenger.
he did do that as well. And then there's also a lot of crap on his resume. So, he's a working director. He apparently, and I think I mentioned this before, he had wanted to direct this movie from the first film. I think one of the other studios had him lined up when they were doing their bidding war, had him lined up as the director, and then that studio did win the bid. And then he offered to do the second movie before Spielberg decided he wanted to come back. And then finally, when Spielberg decided he didn't want to do this one, he allowed Joe Johnston to come on board. But anyway, this movie is written by Peter Buckman, Alexander Payne, and Jim Taylor. I think Payne and Taylor are the two that did the last minute rewrite. Music by Don Davis. Obviously, a lot of original themes by John Williams. And starring Sam Neill, William H. Macy, Téa Leoni, Alessandro Nivola, Trevor Morgan, and Michael Jeter.
Yes.
Yes.
And then the plot is more or less as follows. Alan Grant is approached by wealthy couple Paul and Amanda Kirby, who offer to fund his research if he takes them on an aerial tour of Isla Sorna. Grant reluctantly agrees and brings along his research assistant, Billy. Against Grant's wishes, the Kirbys land on the island, and the group is immediately attacked by a Spinosaurus. A couple of the other hired hands die, and the survivors retreat into the forest. The Kirbys reveal they are in fact not rich and have conned Grant into this expedition to help them find their son, Eric. Eric and his stepfather had been on a parasailing trip to Isla Sorna when they went missing. The group is attacked by raptors, and in the confusion, Grant is separated. He is saved from the raptors by Eric, who has survived alone on the island for 8 weeks. The group is soon reunited, but once again attacked by the Spinosaurus. They get to safety, but it is revealed that Billy took raptor eggs from a nest, which is why the raptors are in pursuit. The group next stumbles into an aviary where they are attacked by pterodactyls. Billy is seemingly killed before the rest make it out. They find a boat and head down the river to the coast, but not before retrieving Paul's satellite phone. They are attacked by the Spino once more, but Alan is able to get a call out to Ellie Sattler. The boat is wrecked, but the Spino is driven away by fire. Nearly to the coast, the group is surrounded by raptors, but the carnivores retreat once their eggs are returned to them, and Alec mimics some raptor calls. On the beach, the military arrives to take the survivors to safety. Billy is in fact not dead, but already aboard the military craft. A helicopter takes everyone back to the mainland as a flock of pterodactyls fly off into a brand new world. And maybe to Enid, Oklahoma. Who knows?
Who knows?
Anyway, so basically, that's the plot. Are you still with us, Dylan?
Hello.
Hello.
Okay. You're
There
back now.
you are.
I guess that connection, that wire is kind of
Iffy.
iffy, but anyway.
Sorry, I was looking at IMDb at the credits for Alexander Payne and Jim Taylor. I was just astounded that this guy wrote a Jurassic Park movie.
Yeah, I mean,
Same guy. So Alexander Payne is the guy who directed The Holdovers a couple years back with Paul Giamatti. He made that movie Nebraska that has Bruce Dern in it that he, I think, like won an Oscar for, was nominated for an Oscar for. He did Sideways and some other movies that are, I mean, pretty popular, like more artsy films.
yeah. Well, I did read
and
that
Jim Taylor wrote a lot of stuff with him too, it looks like. So,
when they were offered the gig, they were actually shocked because they had never written anything like this. But I guess they did a rewrite on, I forgot, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids or something that the studio was impressed with, like how quickly they were able to do a rewrite on, and so they were kind of throwing this to try to save. So
fair enough. Kind of makes sense why they brought someone in to rewrite the original writer, the Peter Buckman guy. He wrote Aragon.
Oh. Well.
Yeah.
We can't all be winners, but I did read the original. I mean, I guess the original script is out there because Wikipedia has a very detailed summary of it, and it was. I mean, they took some of it for the final product here, but it was very complicated. It had like 2 or 3 differing storylines that the movie was trying to follow, one in the U.S. and then one on this island, and Grant was trying to secure funding for this research facility in the U.S. while also trying to go on expedition. And it just seemed like a lot to try to fit into one movie and make comprehensible. So that's why I think they had someone come in and try to strip it down.
Fair enough.
But
I was also looking through the cast list there, and I think I saw that the guy who plays Billy,
yeah,
is the same guy who plays the Rhino in Kraven the Hunter.
You know, his face looked familiar, and I was like, I've seen this guy in some other movies, but yeah, you know, now you say that, it is the same guy.
What a career.
He looks a lot different.
Yeah.
Of course, I
Yes, he
guess
does.
it's 25 years ago, but he kind of looks slimy in this movie. I mean, I guess we're supposed to think of him as a good guy. Of course, he makes the bad decision to take the raptor eggs, but he always got that look on his face like he's planning something evil.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, this movie opens up with one of the worst like examples of responsible parenting in the history of ever, where like the cool stepdad is trying to take his son parasailing, and you know what? We're gonna go parasail with dinosaurs. That can't possibly
In restricted airspace.
yeah, that could possibly not go wrong at all.
Yeah.
And of course, they're gonna drive into some fog. The boat is, and everyone's gonna die. We don't ever see what kills these the people on the boat, but anyway, so they have to,
I would assume probably the Spinosaur,
maybe or some kind of aquatic creature, but they
Something got him.
something got them, and so they have to detach from the cable from the boat, and then of course they promptly crash into the island. But then we cut to Alan Grant, and Alan Grant is now, I don't know if they ever got
Playing with
married.
some kids.
Yeah, he's playing with a kid, and I guess Ellie, Laura Dern. They somehow con Laura Dern into a cameo. I'm not sure.
It was kind of a nice little fake out moment there. They're like, oh, he's playing with kids. Like, oh, we haven't seen him and Ellie since the first movie. Like, oh, it must be him and Ellie's kids. Ellie walks out, and she's got another kid on her hip.
Yeah.
And then her actual husband shows up.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, they're separated. I did read where Joe Johnston, I guess that was his idea. He's like he just couldn't stand the sight of Laura Dern and Sam Neill as a couple, and so he like wrote them as separated. So
I guess it kind of works for the plot of this movie, because if they were together in the context of this film, they both would have gone to the island, which at the same time I guess would be fine. But
yeah, and there was probably, I'm sure, like Joe Johnston makes up things about why. I'm sure some of it was they probably just didn't want to pay for Laura Dern to be on set for 5 months, but it is what it is. So, I don't know. I'm sure William H. Macy wasn't any cheaper than Laura Dern would have been, but I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, so they're not together. She's got kids by another guy, but Dr. Grant is still, digging up dinosaurs. He's giving lectures at this fundraising event or something, and it's kind of supposed to be a joke because he finishes and nobody's interested, but they all raise their hands for questions, and then he's like, does anyone have a question not associated with Jurassic Park? And they all put their hands down. And
Or the thing that happened in San Diego.
and yeah, San Diego. And anyway.
He's been working on raptor research, and has found out that I guess they have some sort of based on his research, found out that they have like some sort of like highly intelligent communication process or a way of communicating that they were able to find based on this resonating chamber in their heads.
Yeah,
which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, and he does say in that speech that there's no force on heaven and earth that would get him to that island, which we'll see later. That just a little bit of money, I guess, is greater than any force on heaven and earth. But yeah, and then I think Billy has a 3D printer, like long before 3D printers were cool, I think. So that was kind of neat. But
yeah.
How expensive would a 3D printer have been in 2001 if that even existed?
Yeah, in 2001, that would have been cutting edge technology, especially to do something like he was having it do. So
yeah,
that grant money must be pretty nice wherever it's coming from. But so we're going to be introduced to William H. Macy and Téa Leoni in this movie, and they're playing well, first of all, we're introduced to them as like this. They're supposed to be like this rich couple. And they, they're posing as they're wanting Grant to come and give them like a tour of Site B, Isla Sorna, as a, like a guide or whatever. But of course we know, or we'll find out, they're in fact a divorced couple. And, but for whatever reason, they let the son go alone with the stepdad. And now they're coming together to try to go get their kid or whatever. But I think this movie, and I talked about this in the review of our last film, is like, it knows that the audience knows that, okay, there's going to be dinosaurs. We don't have to tease out the dinosaurs like the first movie. We're going to get to the island about 20 minutes into the movie when they're flying over and they're seeing the herds of herbivores running free and everything. So, and one thing I do like about this movie compared to the last two is that the last two are both over 2 hours. This one is a pretty lean and mean 93 minutes or whatever.
90 minutes.
Yeah. So, I mean, probably largely because they didn't have a
script. The full
script.
runtime, I think, is 92, but.
Yeah. Probably because they didn't have a script, so they just ran out of stuff to film.
It's
but
funny how Alan is trying to do his, tour guide stuff, and nobody's interested in it.
No one's paying attention.
We do see, like, before they get to the plane, I think one of the most notorious scenes in Jurassic Park history where he's having, like, this dream sequence, and then he sees Billy as a raptor saying, Alan.
Alan.
And, I mean, it is silly, and there's a lot of silly things in this movie. I don't know why that scene, like, took off like it did. I don't think it's, like, particularly silly. I mean, there's a lot of weirder dream sequences in movies, but
it's like Chicken Jockey in Minecraft.
And for whatever reason, it took off as a meme, or what? I guess that was probably before memes were a big thing, but it's kind of got meme status over the years. But anyway, so everyone's ignoring his commentary because they're really not looking for a tour; they're looking for their son, and then they're like talking about landing, and Alan's getting all agitated, and they just conk Alan in the head and knock him right out, which is totally assault, and he should sue when they get back to the mainland. But
for what money? They're poor.
They're poor, and I think the guy that
they're not
dead.
poor. He owns a business.
He owns a paint shop in Enid, Oklahoma. he's a middle class man.
He's rolling in the dough.
Yeah, but what I do like about this movie is we land. I mean, like this all happens, I think, less than 30 minutes into the movie. They land. Mm-hmm. She's out there with her megaphone screaming her son's name. And then they hear, of course, a dinosaur roar, and we get treated to the airplane sequence where they're all running back onto the plane and they're going down the runway, and then the guy runs out in front of them, and then the Spinosaurus runs out and grabs him, and they crash. And I actually really like the set they built for this plane. I think this is a pretty fun sequence where like the plane's in the tree, and then the Spinosaurus shows up and knocks it out of the tree, and then it eats the one guy, and then it's like rolling them around on the ground and stuff. I mean, I think it's probably better than any scene in The Lost World, honestly.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But, and then, also I think one thing I'm going to defend this movie a lot. One thing I like about this movie is that I think the Spinosaurus is a good villain. Like, I don't think we needed a third movie with the T-Rex as the main villain. I think the Spinosaurus was a good upgrade. I mean, we'll talk about creature design and all that. I think he looks cool. I think he sounds cool. I think
he even kills a T-Rex.
They've got it right after this scene happens. They've got to like show the audience that he's even bigger and meaner than a T-Rex. So he has a fight with the T-Rex and promptly kills it. So I really like the Spinosaurus as the main villain in this movie. And so, so then we're going to spend, the next whatever hour of them running around, running from the Spinosaurus. At one point, they come across a raptor nest, and Billy, like without Grant's knowledge, picks up some eggs, and so then they're gonna get into a chase with some raptors. There's again another scene that's kind of silly that people make fun of when they go into like the research lab or whatever.
And the raptor like sees her. It's like hiding behind the
raptor poses as a test tube baby or something, and then it comes out and it tries to get her. It's like, how would I know they make a big deal about raptors are smarter than primates, but it seems like pretty advanced cunning to pose as a test tube.
Well, I mean, we follow that up. Obviously, like you said, they get into their chase and they're chasing them, down, and they ended up getting a hold of one of the guys that was with them on the plane. I think he's one of the pilots, and they trap him and they get him and they use him as a trap to lure out the other people to try to get him. Yeah. So they're supposed to be, extremely intelligent creatures, which Jurassic World, obviously would build upon, raptors being, highly intelligent.
Oh yeah. One thing that bothered me about that is that like raptors are supposed to like have all these claws and they're supposed to be pretty good climbers. They can't climb those trees. I mean, I think they would be better climbers than our human cast, but
they don't have the hands to climb trees.
No.
Yeah, they don't have thumbs. They can't grab on them, and they can dig their claws, and they can probably only go so far.
They have those small arms that they can't really do much with.
Okay. Well, he was climbing the gate earlier, it looked like, but maybe Maybe he could hook his.
It had holes.
It had holes. He could hook his claws through it. Okay. I'll accept it. I'll accept it. But anyway, so and at this point, this is where like Grant gets separated, and then he's surrounded by the raptors, and Eric comes out and uses some tear gas to scatter him and saves Grant or whatever. So then every Jurassic Park movie's got to have a kid on the island. So we're going to be introduced to Eric. I think he's supposed to be 12 years old or something. He looks a little older, but
yeah,
I'd venture to say he's closer to like 14.
Yeah, he looked like a 14 or 15-year-old to me. But anyway, so then they hear the phone ringing and and they
here's one thing I will say about Eric's character. We're supposed to be led to believe that this poor kid was able to survive for 8 weeks alone on a deserted island filled with dinosaurs.
Yeah. I mean, you got to stretch your imagination a bit. I mean, I guess you could say, he found a good hiding place. Imogen had left behind plenty of rations, so he wasn't starving or whatever. But
yeah, how did he purify water? Or was he just drinking the water and hoping it's safe?
I think he says at one point that it was a water truck that he was.
Yeah, he was in a water truck.
Hiding in.
Yeah, but there's no water in the truck. He's living in it.
No, that's true. I don't know. I didn't ask that many questions. Maybe the river is clean water. I don't know.
Maybe it's clean enough.
Clean enough, I guess. Maybe some dinosaur poop mixed in, but
you're asking too many questions.
This is Jurassic Park 3. You're asking too many questions.
I'm sorry, my bad.
No.
I was just curious. I'm like, man, this kid, this preteen, early teenage kid is surviving 8 weeks by himself in the middle of the jungle.
There's some smart kids out there.
Yeah, well, those smart kids aren't having to deal with.
I'm like, you probably couldn't
dinosaurs.
You probably couldn't take a grown ass man and put him in that same situation and ask him to survive 8 weeks.
I mean, now look at Alan Grant. He's almost died after a couple days on an island twice. So
he said, he's read every book about dinosaurs they've ever wrote.
I guess so. He's read all of Grant's books, all of Malcolm's books. They make some jabs at Malcolm about being, self-centered and hiding himself,
chaotic,
and whatever. But one of my favorite scenes in the movie though is when they hear that phone ringing. Although again, it's kind of silly. How does that phone ringtone come through so clearly out of that animal's stomach? But whatever. And they're all running along the fence, and they're all happy to see each other. And then you hear that phone ringing, and they all turn around, and that Spinosaurus is just standing there menacingly. And then it's like
he's like, "Oh, hey, bro, how's it going?"
Usually, like when a T-Rex or whatever like comes up, it's like you hear the footsteps, and it's a big deal, and it's just like,
and then a big roar. He's like, "Oh, hey,
hey, I'm here."
And of course, they did for this movie, which I guess we can talk about that in creature design, but I think Spinosauruses were mostly aquatic creatures, which I think we'll see that based on the trailer. We'll see that a little more realistically brought to life in this new movie. So they've completely like changed the biology of a Spinosaurus for this movie. But who cares?
He had his water scenes.
He does have a water scene, but yeah. So they chase him, and then they burst through the fence and whatever. They go running and hiding and get away from it. And I think this is where Alan figures out that Billy has stole raptor eggs, and he's got raptor eggs in his bag. So he tells Billy that you're worse. You're just as bad as the people that made this island, which he'll regret later. But he was going to drop the eggs, but then he kept them because he's like, what if the raptors find us without the eggs? Then they're going to be really PO'd. But anyway, so then we go a little more. And then the next adventure I think we have is they get to the bird cage, which is the pterodactyl sequence.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, and
they build it up too, though, for quite a while. I mean, they're getting down into this thing, and they're walking across bridges, and Alan starts recognizing things. Like, hold on a second, and then he figures it out. He's like, oh my god, this is a giant bird cage.
Yeah, and again, I think this is set up. I think this is a pretty good setup. I like a lot of the action sequences in this movie, that with the fog and the rickety walkway, and Alan gets across, but then and I think Tia Leone gets across, but when the kid gets across, like he feels something hit the walkway, and then just kind of like it seems like a scene out of The Mist, and that creature comes walking.
I mean, I was about to say, like, if we're being like completely honest, I mean, there are some scenes obviously in the first the first Jurassic Park, you're like, okay, that's a scary scene if I'm a kid. Like if I was a small child in 2001 watching this, that whole sequence, the way like all the fog and stuff like that, and the way everything comes out of nowhere, and then like toward the end, we'll talk about the Spinosaurus scene, like how he just kind of comes out of nowhere. Like I'd be pretty scary. I'd be like, what the heck's going on?
Yeah, I mean, as a young kid, like this bird scene or this cage scene and and then the Spinosaurus scene in the water we'll talk about here in a little bit. I mean, it was pretty intense. Like if I was in a theater watching it as a little kid, I'd probably be closing my eyes in this scene with the pterodactyls in the fog. And this scene, they take scenes from that first book that were not used for the movie and have pretty much stretched them all across this franchise. But this is a scene that's inspired by something that was in that first book and not used for that first movie. So anyway, they all get attacked by birds and Eric gets carried off at one point and they try to feed him to the baby pterodactyls, but they recycled the parasail from Ben, the stepdad, earlier, I guess, and Billy like takes off with it and saves Eric, but then it looks like Billy gets killed. He's getting pecked by pterodactyls and
blood in the water.
But you don't see a body, and anytime you don't see a body, he's probably coming
back. There's gotta be a body.
There's gotta be a body. But the rest of them get out, and now we're gonna go, and they get on like a riverboat, and we're going down the river, and they stop and because they hear the phone ringing, and now we get to see them dig through some dinosaur poop, which is nice. And there's like that little red horned dinosaur comes across and like sniffs them. Is like, nope.
Nope.
And they get the phone and he can't call they set up the thing. You can't call the embassy because the embassy is useless. Didn't help the, Macy and Tara, whatever her name is, Leone when Taya Leone when they were trying to look for their son, and so they don't call the embassy. And so instead, the only person he can think to call is Ellie Sattler, I guess.
She's like, I know who to call, Ellie.
Yeah.
And so we get a sequence, I guess, as a short little brief scene here where her kids gotta answer the phone, and Alan's like, take the phone to your mom, and he gets distracted by Barney on the TV while they're getting eaten or trying to avoid getting eaten by a Spinosaur.
Yeah. And then again, like I said, I think the set whatever they built for this scene and the set for this scene right here and the setup for this scene is really impressive when the Spinosaurus comes up out of the water and flips over the boat and they're trapped in the cage, and then there's like that big crane thing and the fuel spilled everywhere, so they shoot the flare and it lights up the water, and I think it's pretty intense. I think it works really well, and it's the last time we'll see the Spinosaurus in this movie, but he finally gets chased away by the fire, and they think that Paul is that his name? Paul? Macy's character is dead, and then he comes up. I will say, I think the acting in this movie is by and large pretty good.
Yeah.
Except for Taya Leone. I do not believe a single emotion she has in this movie. She's terrible in this movie.
She's not the best.
And maybe this is not really her type of movie. I think more of hers, mostly like romances and dramas, like hardcore dramas. So maybe she just wasn't feeling it. I don't know, but she just comes off as so insincere in all of her stuff for me. But I don't know. But Macy, despite the fact that he was having no fun on set, apparently, I think he functions.
Yeah.
Obviously, Sam Neill knows how to work around a Jurassic Park movie.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'll agree with you though. Taya Leone is probably the weakest link of the entire cast. Which I've seen her in other things. She's okay as an actress. I mean, there's a reason she's not in a ton anymore. I would say like the other big thing that I've seen her in outside of like this is a movie that she did with Nick Cage called The Family Man. It's a holiday movie, that came out like the year before this actually. And she virtually like her performance is almost exactly the same, just in a different context.
Yeah. And I think like maybe I think that she thought maybe she was in a more of a B movie than she actually was, because she just is like just so, I don't know, just so over the top with everything.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know. But I mean, whatever. It doesn't ruin the movie for me or anything. But so anyway, they're going, and we're close to the end. Now this is where after this this river scene is where you can really feel that they just ran out of script, because it just gets really clunky from here. They go and they get surrounded by the raptors, and I think this is supposed to be like the big climax of the movie, but it's pretty much just easily resolved by them giving the eggs back, and then Alan somehow has like memorized all their calls, and so he mimics some calls on that little 3D printed thing from earlier, and they go away.
Yeah.
And then like they get to the beach, and like we're supposed to believe that I guess Sattler put in a call to the military. They listened to her, and then in like the span of like, I don't know, 8 hours, they put together a strike force and got down to Costa Rica. Yeah. So like, yeah. Do you know how long it would take for them like to put together a strike force like this and get it down to Costa Rica?
They got literally, they had like naval ships out on the coast.
They had like all these like.
It looks like they have like an aircraft carrier and a couple ships out there like farther off the coast.
They got helicopters.
They got jets, helicopters. They've got vehicles to land on the beaches and things like. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
Alan Grant must be really important, man.
Yeah. In reality, even if they even bothered to go rescue these people, it would take like a month of planning to get this kind of.
Listen, here's the situation. They're like, man, this guy, he was on Jurassic Park. He's been through enough. Somebody go get this more freaking guy off his island.
Yeah, and Billy's not dead.
When did they find Billy?
I don't know. I guess he floated down the river, and maybe they just found him floating in the
They're
ocean.
like, oh,
I don't know.
Hey, look, there's a guy.
There's somebody. Why didn't the pterodactyl? I guess maybe he floated out under the cage, and that's why the pterodactyls didn't kill him. I don't know, but how did the pterodactyls get out of the cage at the end? I guess is another question. But
yes,
they're gonna kind of
the door.
Remember
the door? The door that they left that didn't close right? Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. They're going to kind of recreate the shot from the ending of the first movie where, like, they were in the helicopter and the Pelicans.
That's what I was going to say. It's a nice little, like a callback, little mirror to the end of the first movie, except this time they're not seeing real birds as, like, a return to normalcy. They're like, oh, my God, pterodactyls.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the flip. Like, the end of the first film was supposed to be, like, symbolize a return to normalcy, like you said, and then this is like the flip is like it's like promising a whole new world where now there's going to be dinosaurs in the real world, which is not something that'll really be brought to a fruition until Jurassic World Dominion, and even then they just kind of brush it off. It's like, well, it kind of happened, but
it kind of happened.
we'll get to that later. Anyway, but yeah, that's the end of the movie. I mean, it's a pretty breezy 90 minutes. I mean, I have a lot of nostalgia for this movie because, like, for whatever reason, this is the one that we had on DVD when I was little, and it's the one that we watched over and over. But, you know, I think this is, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a pretty fun and breezy 90 minutes, and got some good action sequences. Yeah, it's clunky in parts. Yes, it's got some cheesy bits. There's no doubt about it. But, I don't know. I had fun with it.
I enjoyed this movie.
I mean, yeah, it's a lot better than I remember it being for some reason. I don't like I said, I didn't watch this one a ton. Granted, I mean, I grew up watching the Jurassic Park movies and I'd seen them all as a kid, but I probably didn't watch them as often as like you guys did. Like the movies I grew up like rewatching a lot. Like I grew up on a lot of the 80s movies that my parents watched, and I watched those a lot as a kid.
Yeah.
So like I watched a lot of Back to the Future, Indiana Jones, and like the Brat Pack movies and things like that is kind of what I grew up watching, and you guys grew up watching, you know, sci-fi and action movies because that's what your dad was into.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we watched a lot of Jurassic Park and Alien and Predator and Star Wars.
Terminator.
I watched Star Wars quite a bit as a kid, but yeah.
But yeah, that, and you know, it is a movie. But anyway, you want to talk about let's do some creature design?
Yeah.
Sure. Well, let's start with the new main villain, which is the Spinosaurus. Like I said, I mean, not physiologically accurate, maybe. I mean, how many of these dinosaurs actually are to reality? But
not many.
I really like the look of this Spinosaurus. He's got kind of that brown tan skin. He's got that giant, you know, his namesake, that giant spine along his back. He's got this really long snout, these really sharp teeth, these kind of creepy green little beady eyes, and
he's big.
He's huge. He's bigger than the T-Rex, and
he's strong.
He's got a resounding roar, and yeah, I like the Spinosaurus.
I'm not mad at him.
You
I think he looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Yep, I like him a lot. So, we see a
He's
T-Rex.
got a longer snout, more than like a T-Rex too, and he's got what appears to be like sharper teeth.
Yeah, and he's got some big claws on his feet and stuff. And we do see a T-Rex. I think he's kind of green in color in this movie. Promptly gets killed to show how dominant the Spinosaurus is. Raptors, I think the raptors are more colorful in this movie. They look like they got like red stripes, like red and gray with stripes.
And one's like white with whitewashed with, like dark stripes in him.
Yeah, and they're different colors too. Like the one is there's one that's kind of the more traditional gray color, like you saw in the first two movies, and then
then there's one that's got a lot of red in them.
Yeah, and then they
ones
all
that have some blue.
Most of them have like these little like I don't know like top knot things, like just like a few hairs sticking out of their top of their heads.
That's they dreads, bro.
They did dreads. And but yeah, the raptors are cool still. What else? Was there any other dinosaurs that played a big role? There's some ankylosaurs. I think they're ankylosaurs we see for the first time in the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we see the ones with like the horns on their head. We see some bronchiosaurus or whatever. The brachiosaurus, brontosaurus, whatever they are, they look kind of creepy. Like their faces look kind of mean. They got like these red splotches and like these mean looking eyes in close up, even though they're supposed to be like majestic or whatever.
And we get
the pterodactyl, obviously. I really like the pterodactyls in this movie. They're creepy.
Let's get some poppies or whatever. What were they called?
The compies, the little green ones. Yeah.
Not poppies.
Poppies. But the pterodactyls I think look cool in this movie. They're creepy.
Very large, menacing bird type dinos.
Bird type Pokemon. Yeah. But yeah, I mean the dinosaurs once again, I'll just like the other ones, cool. I'm cool with the dinos. And then effects. Again, I'll say the same thing as I did the last two. I think it's a nice blend of practical and CGI. And I actually think the CGI in this movie is really good. I mean, I think it holds up really well. I mean, there's maybe a couple of scenes, maybe when there
are a couple of spots where I'm like, I don't know.
Maybe like when there's like big herds of dinosaurs where I thought it looked a little sketchy, but I thought it held up really well overall.
I think it's still, as I said with the practical effects, I think look better.
Yeah.
Still, I think obviously hold up better because computers have gotten better since then, and I'm watching it on a 4K disc, and it was never intended to be viewed that way when it was created. So it kind of shows the flaws a little bit more, and with modern technology, but still overall, yeah, effects hold up pretty well. A couple of spots where the CGI is a little glossy, but overall for a movie that's about 25 years old, it still looks pretty good. I've seen much worse CGI and movies that have come out in the last 5 years. So
definitely, and I think the set pieces, like I mentioned before, I think the plane set piece when it's tore up there at the beginning, and the way they blend that with the both the CGI and the practical Spinosaurus model. Is really great.
Like the aviary set, like the whole bird cage set.
Yeah.
And the set design that they use for that, and having the fog and everything roll in, I think really adds to the atmosphere and the tension of those.
Yeah.
That whole sequence.
And the big scene on the boat. They have the boat set piece and the big crane, and they have the giant Spinosaurus.
And somebody definitely had the rain machine going.
And they had that rain machine going. And I think the effects in that scene look really good, and in the fire and everything. So yeah, overall, I mean, I think that $93 million was well spent. I mean, not on a script, obviously. They ran out of money to get some.
Who needs to write things?
Who needs to write things?
Do it on the fly.
Just do it on the fly. It's creative freedom, baby.
I mean, surprisingly, for not having an actual shooting script for the majority of it, the fact that it turned out as good as it did is highly impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more sensical than most Transformers movies. So,
I mean, we talked, and said Joe Johnston, he's made a lot of stuff that is not, super, well known, kind of, just feels like a working director, but I feel like he's the one you would have to give credit to for it being as competent as it is. Like he would have to be the main driving force behind, all right, here's some of the decisions that we're going to make this, some sort of a cohesive narrative that we're actually doing. I mean, he's made, like I said, I mean, he did the first Captain America movie, which is not terrible, and the Rocketeer is pretty widely beloved by a lot of people these days. So, I mean, he's not an incompetent filmmaker.
No, I mean he knows what he's doing. And I think the fact that I enjoy the action scenes so much is what gets me through this movie. Like if the action scenes were boring, and I think honestly, I think The Lost World kind of suffered from this because you kind of felt the length of that movie. It's like, okay, here we go, we're running from dinosaurs again.
Yeah.
I think that the fact that the action scenes are so well done in this movie really gets you through it.
Well, there's like one big one per act. So like the first act is the plane crashing and then running from the Spino, and then the second act, is the big chase that leads into the the aviary sequence, and then the end, on the river.
Yeah.
So
and there's some raptor chase,
Raptor
scenes in
chases.
between. So yeah, I think it's actually really well paced, and I think that really helps.
93 minutes or 92 minutes is a really solid runtime.
Yeah, and it keeps you from asking too many questions, at least while you're watching. You may ask the questions after, like, that didn't really make sense. But
like Dylan asking about where do you get water?
I'm sorry. I just want to know how the kid survived for 8 weeks by himself. That's 2 months that kid's living by himself in the jungle.
Fair.
I mean, honestly, I don't think this movie, like, just totally, like, craps the bed like The Lost World did when she did her little gymnastics kick of kick the Velociraptor out the window. And you're like, oh. There it is.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway. But yeah.
Which is really funny because this one's like the lowest rated one on IMDb outside of Jurassic World Dominion.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like well, let's talk about score real quick. We also have score by Don Davis. Now, I actually think Don Davis uses more of the original score than John Williams did in that second movie.
Yeah.
And we kind of talked about where we didn't really care for Williams' score in that second movie. I mean, I think Don Davis, obviously he liberally uses the classic themes, which help a lot. And then his new stuff is perfectly serviceable for, whatever they're trying to accomplish. But
yeah. I couldn't point out a specific piece of music that was his. The only, I mean, if we're being 100% honest, the score, I'm like, oh, okay, there's John Williams music. I'm like, that's,
yeah, it's pretty much how it works. But anyways, I think it's time for some final thoughts. Andrew, would you like to start? Final thoughts.
Well,
this movie's fine. I have a lot of nostalgia for this movie. Like we said, we watched a ton when we were little. But I think the acting is fine in this movie, and the service support to the limited screenplay the actors had to go off of.
Yeah.
The limited everything. I think the animation is really good in this movie. Some of it's glossy, but I think it's passable for being as old as it is. And the animatronics things, I think they look fine. I like the Spinosaurus really well. I think he's a good villain. Gives us something different than the regular T-Rex being the main guy.
Yeah.
As he is in most of the Jurassic Park franchise.
Yeah.
And I think the score is all right. It's a lot of reused stuff and some new stuff that I have a hard time picking out because it all sounds pretty much the same.
Yeah.
As other music. I think I'll give this movie, I'll give it a B-.
B-. All right. Dylan, what are your thoughts?
I mean, overall, for not having seen this movie in as long as it's been, I was surprised how much I actually enjoyed it. I mean, it's a very, like we've said, very quick, brisk, 90-minute runtime. It's extremely well paced. It's, a pretty quick setup. We get to the island, action sequence, a little bit of walking around, action sequence, a little bit more walking around, and then we're at the finale. So it moves pretty quickly. The characters are likable enough. It's nice and very welcome to have, Grant back in the fold to, really keep you engaged in the movie. William H. Macy's doing, the best he can with what limited script I'm sure it sounds like they had. And honestly, this kid's doing a better job acting than Taya Leone, but that's okay. We can't all be that talented. But no, I mean, everything, honestly, it holds up pretty well. And like I said earlier, I mean, I'm very surprised at how well this movie turned out from what you said, with them basically not having a shooting script. And I like I said, I would have to give a lot of credit to Joe Johnston to be able to put together something that ended up as entertaining as it is. Effects hold up pretty well, minus a couple spots where the CGI is a little, a little glossy and looks a little wonky and shows its age. But when you blend the CGI with the practical effects, it's top notch, as it always has been. Still holds up really well. All the creatures look great, especially the Spino. I really like how aggressive and mean he looks. Hearing John Williams' music on screen is always a plus, so I can't complain about that, even if there is apparently some new music. I don't know where, but it's probably there. But overall, no, not a bad movie at all. I mean, I was expecting a lot worse, as long as it's been since I've seen it and not remember anything really about it. So I think with Andrew, I'll give it a B minus.
Yeah, listen, I think that this movie is kind of, even today, I think it's kind of treated as like the black sheep of the Jurassic Park franchise, but
which is really weird.
It is really weird because, I mean, obviously we'll review the rest of them and we'll do a re-ranking when we get through all of these movies. But sitting here today, I think I'm going to say that this is the third best Jurassic Park movie, but behind Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. I mean, it's, listen, I mean, obviously it's got some issues. It's cheesy in parts for sure. You can really tell in the last 15 minutes they just kind of ran out of script. And, I mean, there's definitely issues to be had. Téa Leoni is not a good actress in this movie, but I think it's a brisk 90 minutes. It's got a good pacing. It's got great action sequences. It's got a really cool villain. The first really change up in the franchise and the villain, and I think they picked a good one in the Spinosaurus. And I enjoy. I mean, again, and some of my feelings may be clouded by nostalgia because I did watch this one so many times as a really young kid. But no, I enjoy this movie quite a bit. And did it kind of turn the Jurassic Park franchise into really announce it as a B movie franchise, whereas before it hadn't been? Sure, but I think this is a really good B movie, and I'll give this movie a B. So yeah. But anyway, we recorded an episode last night and we talked about some news, so I don't really have any new news today. We did get our email for the G-Fest where something called Ultraman the Hero premiere is coming to G-Fest. They're going to announce details later. Now, they did do something similar, I think, summer of last year in Japan, and it was just basically like a series of like games and merchandise and videos for Ultraman that they're, trying to, really build up the franchise. So, that'll be at G-Fest. Dylan, I was telling Andrew, I don't know if you saw the email come across. They announced the full schedule of events for G-Fest.
I did not see it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I looked over. There's a lot of events each day overlapping. So we're going to have to kind of plan out each day, like what events we want to hit, because otherwise, there's just too much to focus on. But they are going to be premiering. I know me and you and Andrew are big into movies. They are going to be premiering some some quote unquote original films, like I think like SRS Cinema kind of movies. Yeah. So I don't know if we want to like maybe catch any of those premieres. But they are going to be premiering an Ishiro Honda documentary one of the days, and I do want to catch that in the film festival room for sure. Then we'll just have to look over the schedule and figure out each day what we want to do. But
that film festival room's going to be packed.
Well, I'm sure it'll be a popular event for sure. But and then they also rent out, I think, one of the local theaters, I forget which one, and show movies too. And we'll have to see. I think they do that in the evenings. We'll have to see if there's any of those we want to catch. But
that must be expensive to rent at a theater.
I don't know. They probably get some kind of special convention rate or something. But anyway, so that's up there if you want to check that out. Other than that, I was telling Andrew, Dylan, that I don't know if you saw this, that Matthew Modine was cast in the new Supernova movie, and he's and he's I guess the first thing I think of is he played Papa in Stranger Things, but
first thing I think of Matthew Modine in is Full Metal Jacket.
Oh yeah, he was in Full Metal Jacket, wasn't he? But anyway, he's been posting Space Godzilla stuff all over his Instagrams, which has been fueling the. I don't know if it's a misdirect or not a misdirect, but it's fueling the Space Godzilla theories.
What are the chances he's the villain?
Matthew Modine, I would say pretty high. He likes to kind of be kind of a villainous character. I mean, especially since his most recent, I think, big hit thing would be Stranger Things. They would probably want to cast him as a villain. But yeah, so there's that. But anyway, yeah. Other than that, I think that's all I got in terms of news. We do have Jurassic Park next weekend. Dylan, I don't know if you'll be able to join us for one or both or whatever. I'm going to try to do a double feature again next weekend to try to get us caught up. So next weekend, I'm going to try to post both these episodes, 2 and 3, sometime this week. We got a lot of editing to do. And then we're going to try to watch Jurassic World and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom next weekend. Yeah, it's a rough double feature, but
one of those is a watchable movie.
I mean, I like Jurassic World. I shouldn't be harsh on it, but so we're gonna try to do that next week.
Mostly to that second part.
That second part, and then
the Indoraptor.
If we the Indoraptor, if we accomplish that mission, then we'll just have to do the one movie the following weekend, and then we'll be caught up for the debut of Jurassic World Rebirth, Reborn, whatever it's called. Rebirth. Okay. And yeah.
Is this supposed to be the island they're going to in the new one?
No, the new one, there's actually, if you wouldn't know it, a Site C where they bred super genetically dangerous dinosaurs.
The experimental ones.
So
one that's never been mentioned in 40 years of the franchise.
Yeah, we're gonna do
or 30 years of the franchise or whatever it's been.
A bit more retconning because why not? A little bit of retconning never hurt nobody. But
we gotta send them somewhere, Aaron.
That's right. We gotta send them somewhere.
2 islands
with new dinosaurs.
They're rebirthing it, so we can't just go to the same islands that we've been to. Okay.
Honestly, and we can talk about this more when we get done with Jurassic World Dominion. I think they should have just done a whole remake, just like a hard reset. But I don't make the decisions around here. So
remake the original Jurassic Park, or just completely start it over.
I mean, maybe not like a straight up remake, beat for beat, but yeah, just kind of do a hard reset and just kind of clear the continuity and just make a new movie about an island with dinosaurs that doesn't have to adhere to anything that's come before. So. But again,
I think we're really missing the big step here. Okay, we did Jurassic Park. There's Jurassic World.
Uh-oh.
Where's my Jurassic Solar System, Jurassic Universe? Why are my dinosaurs not going to space?
Jurassic
Universe.
Don't worry. You give the franchise time. We'll be going. We'll have dinosaurs.
I want a freaking T-Rex on the moon.
There will be I was gonna say there will be a dinosaur park on Mars. It's coming before too long, but.
Jurassic Universe.
Jurassic Galaxy, Jurassic Universe. Yeah, something. It's coming.
It's coming eventually.
Or, hear me out. Universal, it's owned. They own the franchise. You know what other franchise they own?
Fast and Furious.
Cars and dinosaurs.
I was gonna say I think they've actually had in some of those leaks they actually have talked about crossing Fast and Furious and Jurassic Park, which having Dom trying to outrace
Where's Vin Diesel
T-Rex?
riding a T-Rex?
There you go. Just ride the T-Rex. That would be better. What other franchises does Universal own? They I can't even think now. They do have they own the Dracula and the monster universe thing.
They do, in fact.
Fast and Furious goes Jurassic.
Do they still have the rights to King Kong? I don't know how the rights to King Kong work anymore, but anyway, I think that's all we got for you this week. Don't forget, again, next weekend we're going to be trying to do a double feature with Jurassic World and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. And then other than that, you can always contact us at stompthisway1954@gmail.com.
And you can find our website at www.stompthisway.wordpress.com.
This is true. I believe we're also up on Facebook at Stomp This Way, so go give us a like and a follow there.
That's right. And again, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom next week. And as always, I'm Aaron.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Dylan, and we'll catch you in the next one.